Good morning. It's Sean Shapiro from Toronto Police Traffic Services, and you are watching Ask a Traffic Cop. It is the 19th? I think I said it was the 19th all day today. And we are talking about, everything that's happened over the weekend. We're going to be talking about traffic and policing. We're going to be answering your traffic and police questions. We're going to talk about a wrap-up of the safety campaign because the campaign wrapped up over the weekend. Sunday was the last day. I forgot to mirror my video over there on TikTok. And we are currently broadcasting on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Did I say YouTube? Yeah, we're everywhere. We're everywhere that's important. If we're somewhere if we're not somewhere we should be, please let us know because we'd like to be there. Mind you, if we're not somewhere where we should be, you'd probably be at the place that we should be, and then you wouldn't be watching. So, hey, we have the Safe Driver. Good morning. How you doing? Good to see you. Safe Driver might be meeting up with me tomorrow virtually to have a convo, so that's cool. Let me know if that still works for you. You guys do the live show now? Do we do a live talk show now? This is Discovery Channel Aquarium. We do so we actually been doing this for over a year. We've been doing this from Monday to Friday, or at least when we're working Monday to Friday, for an hour. Every day, we answer your traffic and police questions. So if you've got them, use the Q&A function in TikTok or what's it called, that Instagram-y thing, and we'll answer your questions right here. The Q&A function is the way that you'll actually get to see, or that I'll be able to see it. If you're watching on another platform, just use the chat. Now, Twitter is not working. The function that allows us to answer your questions or see your comments isn't working. And I just found out last week that LinkedIn Live is a one-way portal. We can see the comments, but we can only verbally respond. We can't actually type back to you. Not that that's a big deal. Okay. We got a question that's come in by the Q&A. And you know what? We're going to be on the Jerry Agar show tomorrow from 9:30 till 10 o'clock. So we're going to do an extra large episode tomorrow. That's always awesome. And if you'd be so kind as to hit that like button about 500 or 600 times, maybe 1,000, depends on what you can handle. Your fingers go numb-stop because you don't want to have to, create a medical emergency for numb fingers from tapping the screen too much. But liking and sharing and subscribing or following, depending on the platform you're using, would be wonderful. It really helps us out. We don't make money at this. I mean, we're paid to be here because we're police, and this is an official thing that we do. But we don't get paid. We're not doing this for any reason. I'm just adjusting the camera here. That's always fun to make you guys seasick. There's no other benefit other than we want to share the word of traffic safety. We want to make the roads safer. Some 800 numbers trying to call me. I wonder if they're trying to sell me something or if they want to add likes to the page. Andrew Stewart, good morning. Question coming in from LinkedIn. Who's at fault if a truck with rocks isn't covered and the rock cracks your windshield? Well, the answer is if they have not secured their load, they have to put a tarp or a cover over their load. So they could be responsible, or they are responsible for not securing their load, so they can be charged. So in that situation, you want to make sure you get the license plate of that vehicle. If you have a dash cam, that really makes life a lot easier. Best evidence is that video evidence. Before we get into the Q&As, let's talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. What is it? It's a dedicated group of officers who spend time in different divisions based on the big brain people that are analytics. They do that investigation to determine which divisions have spikes in issues where they're more likely to have collisions, and they send these officers into corridors that they have identified issues with on certain days, and they go and augment the already good work being done by those officers, and that's how it works. They go out there and they write tickets for the big four. That's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. Today, Vision Zero is going to be in 12 Division and 55 Division. Now, what does that really mean? It means that they're going to be in Weston, Mount Dennis, Rockcliffe, Smythe, the Beaches, Riverdale, Danforth, East York, and Broadview. Those neighborhoods are serviced by those divisions, and that's what they do. Now, they were also I pressed the wrong button. I'm still getting used to this whole background business. Do you like it? I think I like it. Q doesn't always like it, but sometimes she likes it.
I just don't like it because it's not straight.
Yeah, okay, we got to cover that later. I may have to change that. Maybe Q notices small issues. Actually, I usually do too, but I think the whole camera's crooked today. Okay. A whole bunch of questions just popped in. Let's see here. Is checking notification on a smartwatch allowed? I assume you mean, is that distracted driving? Well, if you were to read a notification that popped up, yeah, it could be potentially distracted driving. Really, it's the active use of your phone or, in this case, your watch. But if you were checking the time, it wouldn't be an issue. At the end of the day, you need to be focused on driving. So use of your handheld communication device or watch is distracted driving. I'm sure many people look down to tell the time on a regular basis. Probably wouldn't run into problems, although it may technically be illegal. You probably wouldn't run into problems for a quick check. You would have problems, however, if you were swiping, touching, navigating, noticeably using your watch as a device. That would be a problem. I can't say that you won't get a ticket, just saying that you might be okay if you had a quick look, because you're not touching it. Let's see here. I'm 21 with a G license. Can I drink? No. You're considered a non-office driver until you're 22. So you cannot drive your motor vehicle or operate your motor vehicle with until you're 22 with any alcohol. It's a zero tolerance while you are still a novice driver. What is Lightning Q&A? There's a new feature. Holy moly. What's the new feature do? This I got to try. We're going to try this in a second. Oh, and now it says discussing. We're discussing something when we press this button. Okay, we're going to try that. What is Lightning? Let's see what this is. Have you seen this, Q? Do you know what this is? It randomly chooses topics to discuss. I'm scared.
I'm scared now, too.
You can switch to another question at any time. Okay, what's it going to do? We're testing it out. How does your family feel about your career? Okay, that was very random. My family's very supportive of my choices of being a police officer. I've been a police officer or involved with the police for over 20 years. They've gotten used to it. When I was younger, it was an issue. Some people that I met weren't okay with me being a police officer. When I was I had friends that said they could never date a police officer. So it's not for everybody, but my family is proud that I'm a police officer. Let's see here. Pro Football Craze says good morning, and Alex says, hey. Let's go to another question, see what happens here. What is the best thing about being a parent? Wow, these are really very right on. Maybe this is not specific to this channel. Maybe it's random with other stuff. I'm going to assume this is not specific, but the best part about being a parent is being a parent. I don't know. I'm going to try one more and see if this is actually traffic related. We're going to get out of this topic. Yeah, this is not our questions. I'll get out of here. This is random stuff chosen outside of the Q&A. It's not stuff you've asked. Okay. What is the pay for traffic cops? Police officers in general, regardless if we work in traffic or we work elsewhere, it's the same. So if you go onto our website, and we are hiring, go to www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers, and you can get all the details of the different pay scales for a police officer. I don't actually. Okay, now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Let's see. Going to the main website. I'm going to careers. Because it's a general question, and you know we have the answers for this. Training officer, salary and benefits. So when you become a member of the police service, a cadet in training is currently $68,864. When you graduate police college, it's $76,533. When you graduate the third class, it goes to $87,476. Second class, $98,409, and first class constable is $109,338. So, and there's benefits and other things that just make it also wonderful. But that's not the reason to be a police officer. Don't do it for the money. Do it because you want a lifelong commitment to service. You are serving the community. Okay, let's go to another question. Go ahead.
Here's one. Okay, so spring's coming up soon. People have recently got their G1s. What happens if they got caught without a supervising driver?
Ooh, this is actually my favorite, or one of my top 10 favorite questions. So if you have a G1 and you are stopped or are involved in a collision and you're a G1 unaccompanied, obviously there's a ticket for that. G1 unaccompanied is an offense under the Highway Traffic Act. But you have to know that when you're convicted, there's a 30-day suspension that is applied to your license the first time that you're convicted. Second time, 90 days. Third time, you're kicked out of the licensing program. You have to start again. Any money or time that you've invested into getting your license, well, it's poof. Magic wand waved, and you're no longer a licensed driver at all. You have to reapply and start from scratch. But that is One thing, there's a more important issue here. You're not insured. So if you're in a motor vehicle collision, the insurance company is going to deny that claim because you're not insured. Also, the person who lent you that car knowing you weren't licensed, yeah, they're going to get charged under the Highway Traffic Act for permitting an unlicensed driver to operate a motor vehicle. And if they weren't aware that you took it, you're going to be charged criminally for take vehicle without consent, unless you just outright stole it. So that's the answer to that. I love that answer because it's people just don't understand. It's not a simple, I'm going to go joyriding in somebody's car and I'm not licensed and it's no big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. Okay, can I remove my license plate sticker? If your license plate sticker is valid, I would leave it on there personally. But if it's if you've renewed under the new system and you've now extended it, yeah, you can totally remove it. It's no longer required. Your system is valid in the system. Okay, another question. Alex is apparently going to apply for Toronto Police now because of that comment. Andrew McNaughton wants to know, or says, I know it's been asked before, I forgot the answer, but when can kids move from a booster? So this is a question of when you've already gone through the baby basket or the bucket to a forward or facing seat. Then you go into a full-size seat and then eventually to a booster. But when can a child sit in a seat without any kind of contraption? The answer is legally, they have to be at least 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9" in height. But that is the legal requirement, not the safest requirement. My kids will be there until they are just beyond the need. It's the safest way to go is with the baby, not the baby seat, the child safety restraint. If they meet the 5 steps, which there's an additional 5 steps, not a legal requirement, but if they are safely able to sit without a car seat or a booster, then they can do it. But stay in the back seat until they're 14 years old would be the suggestion. Not a legal requirement, but a suggestion. Do traffic cops work independently or with others? Yes, to both. It depends on the day. We have teams. We have officers who work out on their own. We have, like I was motor squad. We worked as a team. Sometimes I'd work with my partner or even alone, but very often we were doing team-type activities. When am I allowed to have alcohol in my system while, I don't know what the rest is. Maybe you're asking when you're driving. We always suggest never. You should never have alcohol or drugs in your system while you're operating a motor vehicle or a conveyance of any kind. That being said, you're allowed to have more than 0 when you are 22 years old and older and have a full G-class license. Now, there's other conditions. You may be a commercial driver, then you can't have any alcohol in their system. But generally speaking, you can have more than 0, but you can have no more than 0.05 BAC, which is blood alcohol content, when you're operating a motor vehicle. When you can't. It's bad. You get a suspension. If you have over 0.08, then you're looking at criminal charges. JC says, good morning. We're back. I don't know what's going on here.
Okay, you're back.
We're back. Yeah, there's some connection issues happening here. We don't know what the cause is, but we're going with it. I don't know how much of that was missed, but we are back. We are frozen on YouTube. Frozen. Okay, hopefully we're back. Stream crashed. Interesting. Chasey, how much did you miss? Did you see the answer I gave you, or is it all gone? Okay. Rob says we're back. Let's see here. What should I do if a driver is having road rage? Depends on how you know it's road rage. Certainly calling the police for road rage and notifying 911 if it's truly something that's if it's not just giving the finger to somebody, then call police. But keep your distance. Don't get involved. Most of it we missed. Okay, let me go back and give my answer again. Are you calling Erin a plug, or did you want me to plug her socials?
bit to plug her socials. Oh my goodness.
So Aaron, who is not a great distance away, can be Aaron Urquhart is a parking enforcement officer and a media relations officer like myself. And if you're not already following her on social media, you should be. Parking TPS is the main account, and TPS _ bike heart is the other one, HART. So let's go back to the question about if a police officer is parked on your driveway at home doing speed enforcement, can you ask them to leave? Yeah, you can politely ask them to leave. It's your property. So, but again, they're making your neighborhood safer by being there. So depends on what you want to leave the driveway, like trying to get to work. What's your story? No, but truthfully, they generally ask, or they think no one's home. Can we make a left on a red light one-way, Richmond and Adelaide Street? So, okay, if you are on a one-way to another one-way, then you can make a left on a red. So again, you have to be on a one-way to a one-way. That is the only time you can. Okay. All gone. What's this? Hey, it looks like we finally got back onto Instagram. Possibly didn't work. Okay. So what we talked about what should I do if a driver's having road rage? Stay away, but possibly call 911 depending on the situation. Obviously, you have to be concerned that there's risk to safety, which is generally associated with road rage. What is this? Is it illegal to have a thin blue line on a car? Not that I'm aware of. There's no law saying that you cannot have red lines, white lines, green lines, blue lines, regardless of their meaning. Because it may mean one thing to you, it might just be a blue line to somebody else. But there's no law against that, no. Can police officers have some sort of disability? Depends on, you can look on our website what the requirements are for being hired. You need to be able to pass the hiring requirements when you're hired. But I was injured in a motorcycle collision, and although I don't usually use the word disability in my daily description of myself, I currently am dealing with a disability. I am recovering from an injury. I hope to be fully recovered at some point, but that may not happen. So yes, you can still be employed as a police officer, but I can't go on the road. I'm not currently fit for duty to be on the road. So yeah, but I'm still a police officer.
We're Toronto, Canada, correct?
We are in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Someone was. Is there no Canadian flag anywhere? Maybe I need a big Canadian flag in the background.
Your shoulder, sir?
That's a little Canadian flag. Maybe they want a bigger one. Okay. And then there's the website behind, depending on where they're watching, ontario.ca. And a profile says, okay. Oh, here, I like this. Why do cops use radars just for cash grabs? Well, that's an inaccurate statement. We do not use radars for cash grabs because we very often use lasers, but it's also not for a cash grab. It's for traffic safety. We are measuring speed. We are issuing tickets when people are violating the law, but it's got nothing to do with cash. We don't see any of the money that comes from anything related to enforcement. The monies from tickets that are paid goes to the province as well as a fund for victims of crime. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to pay, if you don't want to be involved with this whole concept of paying for offenses, don't commit the offense. Because if you actually don't break the law, you don't get tickets. That's how it works. We are trying to keep people safe. We are issuing tickets to change driver behavior. Because we know that speeding and aggressive driving and impaired and distracted driving all lead to serious injury and death on our roads. And we are trying to prevent people from doing that because we want them to get to where they're going in one piece, safe and sound.
Are bar end signals allowed in Ontario, sir?
Bar end signals? I don't know what a bar end signal is. I'm going to assume it's. I'm going to assume it's at the end of the handlebar, a light that flashes. And I don't know if that's going to meet the requirements. There have to be at the front and back of the vehicle. So if it's only at the front of the vehicle and nothing at the rear, I don't think you're going to pass. Best thing to do is talk to a mechanic about that. But I believe you've got to have proper signals or you've got to use hand signals. And placement is going to be important because there could be a question of visibility based on where they're located.
Thank you.
It's a good question. I've never been asked that question. It's the first time. Okay, Ben Smith wants to know, can you be a police officer of ADHD? I don't know the answer to that question. You'd have to get checked with the employment unit who would have the answers. They're on TikTok as Toronto Police Recruiting. Ask them those questions or check out the website, www.torontopolice.owen.ca/careers. All the details will be there. There's a number of requirements. They're physical, academic, psychological, and I don't know where it falls into for ADHD. Are you part of the RCMP or a different division? We are not part of the RCMP. We are the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and we are a municipal police service. The RCMP is a federal police service that also performs some municipal policing functions depending on where they are, but we don't have them here. Testing people if they're suspected of driving high. I don't really know if that's a question, but we do test people when we suspect them. If you are suspected of impaired driving, if we believe that you're impaired by drugs or alcohol, we can make a demand for a roadside screening device, whether it be for drugs or alcohol. We can do the same for a roadside sobriety test, and ultimately, if the concern or the belief is that you are impaired by drugs or alcohol, we can demand that you perform tests in front of a drug recognition expert. But absolutely, we're very serious about impaired driving. Okay, a lot of spam apparently. Please don't spam. Folks in the room are here because they want answers. If you're here to cause problems somewhere else. I don't actually see the comments in the chat. So if you're trying to annoy people, you're wasting your time. I don't see it. You're annoying your friends and colleagues and other members of the TikTok universe who are here because, again, they want to see answers. So go away, or we'll ask you to politely go away. Do you think tint will be legal in the future? Tint is not illegal now. Tint that is unsafe is illegal now. So if you have tint that is within the current regulation and requirements, in other words, you have no more than 30% light blockage, then you are legal for the purposes of safety, and the vehicle is considered capable of being on the road. But there are atmospheric conditions. So in other words, if it's dark out and then we can't see inside your vehicle, that's now illegal again, and you could be charged for having tint a color or reflective covering or coating that prevents us from seeing inside, obscure interior of motor vehicle. So if you do that, you can still be charged. Different charges depending. If it's truly too dark, you have that 5% limo tint on, your vehicle you can pull your license plates for unsafe vehicle. Also, you can't have anything on the front windshield at all unless your vehicle was manufactured before 2017. So a 16 and earlier could have a 3-inch tint strip across the top, but that's it. Okay, let's see here. What causes false positives on a breathalyzer? Heard about a case where someone was eating durian and failed the test. Mouth alcohol, if we don't wait the prescribed amount of time, and there are rules around when we prescribe the test based on last consumption of alcohol, there's a bunch of things that take place. So we factor in that. Simply consuming something shouldn't, other than alcohol, shouldn't cause a false positive. But that is at a roadside, that's going to be part of it. And then taking you before a proper breath technician at a station, once you've been arrested, that's going to be the next step. So that even less likely to have issues interfering. What was the total stats from the 7 days of the speed campaign? Rob Baker wants to know. That's a great question. Let me give you some stats. So I don't know if you've been following along day by day, but I've announced every day what the daily stats were. I had it up on screen. Is gone. Hang on a second. Here we go. Official post. So yeah, every day we put up the day-to-day stats, and it's been very exciting to watch because it's amazing how many people were choosing to break the law. Now, it happens every day. It's just amazing that even though we were announcing it at the tops of our lungs, well, we weren't screaming, but we were out there saying on social media across all platforms, we're out there doing this. The media covered it, and yet people still chose to break the rules. So to me, that's amazing. We're always enforcing, so people are choosing to break the law in spite of that. But now we're actually out there flying a flag saying, we will stop you and charge you. There's no excuse, and people still chose to break the law. So what's the answer? Over the 1 week, that's from Monday to Sunday, a total of 7,373 tickets were issued. Now, those tickets were specifically traffic related. So speeding, aggressive driving, stunt driving, things of that nature. And then there were also, let's see here. See here. Yeah, that was the grand total. So if you add up all the posts that we put out, that is what it totaled up to. Now there's going to be official numbers that will be coming out in a release that'll come out later today. But that's the I should say more of an approximate number of totals based on what we added up the daily posts. Yeah. Follow us for the update. Yeah, you should be following our page. Now let's go into here and see some Q&A. But we'll get into more details of that later.
Can we speed if we're having a medical emergency?
There is no excuse for speeding. You're never allowed to speed, including medical emergencies. In fact, if you are having a medical emergency, that is even more reason to pull over and call 911. If you're the driver, the chances of you getting involved in a collision are higher if you're having a medical emergency. If you're driving somebody who is having a medical emergency, the chances of you becoming involved in a collision are higher. So don't speed. In fact, you shouldn't be driving. You should leave that to the pros. You call 911 and let police, fire, and ambulance attend and get you the attention and medical attention you need. And the fact is, they're allowed to speed. You're not. Okay. What is this question here? I don't know what this question is. Bandit Sniper wants to know about the right to deny you a test. I don't know what this is. What is the auxiliary program like? It's a great way to volunteer for your community. I was an auxiliary officer for 12 years. It is a fantastic way to give back to your city, and I totally endorse it. Also, you can apply for that at www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. Someone wants to know how long the jail sentence is for vandalism. I don't know. Let's see here. Do you have to have university to become a police officer? You don't have to. It is preferred. It is a competitive process. So if there's one spot available and you don't have university, but the person you're competing with does, then it's entirely possible that they would get the job over you. But it's a very holistic approach right now. They look at everything, but there is talk, and at one point they were having it where it was a minimum requirement. Can you split lanes in Ontario? That's a motorcycle question. The answer is no. You can't split lanes. It's not safe. It's not permitted practice. You can be charged with careless driving. Another question from Ben Smith. I got a red light ticket for turning right on a red. Well, as long as you came to a complete stop before making that right turn on a red, that would be legal and you shouldn't have received a ticket. However, if you decided to breeze through that right turn on red, that would definitely be cause for concern and a ticket to be issued, because you have to come to a complete stop legally before proceeding to make your right turn. Okay, what we got here? G1. A G1 was expired. What happened here? I don't know what happened here. I pressed one button, I got a different question. G1 was expired during COVID. Is it still valid? If your G1 license expired March 1st, 2020 or later, it is good until December 31st, 2022. That's the end of this year. But it is there may not be enough time if you to get through your entire process. So contact the MTO and get some more direction as to what you can do. Okay. Alex wants to know, when you're at a red light stopped and a fire truck, cruiser, or ambulance is coming through with sirens on, do you sit there and wait for them to go through, or sit there and let the vehicle go into the other lane and go around? That's verbatim reading it. So here's the deal. You should stay where you're at if you're at an intersection. We're going to go into oncoming traffic to get around. Now, on the unlikely chance that they are right behind you and stuck and hitting that horn, move to the right as far as possible, and if you can, make the right turn and go onto the other street so you can get out of their way. But the answer is you cannot go through a red light. You do not have the authority to do that. Yeah, that's the deal. Who's at fault for a multi-crash during a snowstorm? Everybody who is involved in that crash could be found in some level of fault, depending on the investigation. But it depends. Snow is not an excuse for a collision, and it might help you out in terms of like if you're the first person and you get hit by somebody, you may not be at fault for anything, but everyone who hits from behind was either driving too quickly or for the conditions, or was unable to avoid the collision and would ultimately be responsible for their component of the collision. My G2 expires in June, but I have a road test in July. The answer is the same as the person who was asking about their G1. You're covered as long as your G2 expired after March 1st, 2020, which is going to be in June. You're still good until December 31st, so you're okay. Okay. Ignoring stop signs leaving private property, is it ticketable? So private property stop signs aren't ticketable. However, when you're entering the roadway, you do have to come to a complete stop, so that is ticketable. And it's failing to yield from, well, it's failed to yield from private drive. You do need to come to a complete stop and make sure it's safe before entering the roadway. How fast will cop cars go? As fast as they need to. You know what? I haven't tried to max them out. The idea is not to go as fast as you can. It's to go as fast as you need to go. And police, fire, and ambulance are allowed to exceed the speed limit, but it has to be during the lawful execution of their duties. What's being done about no lights at night? So people who forget to turn on their headlights, that's a problem. And they can be charged for improper headlights or taillights or both. I believe that all new vehicles coming out now have to have their dash lights turn off with the headlights so that no one thinks so you can't see your dash lights so that you know that your headlights are off, or may have automatic on all the time headlights. I have to look into what the new rules are. But that's for new vehicles that are being made. Apparently, we have some numpties in the chat who are trying to incite dangerous driving protocols or suggesting that it's a good idea. And if you're a numpty, please sit down and be quiet. Don't do that. And I don't mean to be rude. But numpty's the nicest way I can say you're suggesting people do silly things. So that's my new name for people who are choosing to do that. Time for jail and hit and run. Questions about the most recent filter remain collision where someone struck a pedestrian and then failed to remain. I don't know what the charges that they're looking for are, so I don't know what the potential for that is, but I imagine jail time is a potential. Let's see here. Okay. Sergeant Campbell, how you doing?
I'm good, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Let me give you some microphone. We'll give you some microphone. Sergeant Murray Campbell, who is joining us. How you doing? How was your long weekend?
Good
It was good.
morning, Sergeant Campbell.
Good morning, Q. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's get to some questions. Sarge, chat says.
I only have a few minutes to join you today, but I always do my best to try and come by and join in.
It is good to have you. Steven says he's sorry he's late, but he had to take his dog out. Just
That
saying.
sounds rough.
It sounds rough. Can I stunt drive in a warehouse? Why are the wrong questions coming up when I select them? The question remains, can I stunt drive in a warehouse? Although I don't know. There we go. No, stunt driving, regardless of the location, is not legal. The only place you can legally stunt drive would be on a racetrack that is approved for being a racetrack, or if there was a permanent event. But there's no exclusion for private property, outside, inside, above ground, below ground. It's listed just about every single potential location in the act. So the answer is no, you can't.
And it does go as far as saying things like even a beach is not allowed.
Even the beach. And yes, that would be, I can't think of a pun. Okay. I was going with life's a beach, but no, there was no stunt driving.
No, nothing.
Ticketed for having an EV sticker on a regular car. EV stickers don't make it an EV, so it wouldn't be an offense to have a sticker that says electric vehicle on it. It would be an offense to try and apply for a plate. Actually, I don't even know. Would that be fraud? If you were trying to they wouldn't be. It would be unsuccessful because.
Well, even if you were successful and you did obtain one, if it didn't meet the criteria, at least it would be Highway Traffic Act charges.
Yeah, I
To
mean,
falsely misrepresent your vehicle.
you have to have a green plate to use the electric vehicle or the HOV lanes. So it doesn't matter what your sticker says; it has to be your license plate is what gives you access. In fact, if you had an electric vehicle and you had a customized plate, so you didn't have a green plate, well, then you couldn't use any of the HOV lanes because it's the green plate that gives you access. So having a sticker, yeah, it's an interesting question. Why are police officers so rude? I think we're generally pretty funny and friendly, but I think maybe they had a bad day when you had that interaction. I can't make an excuse for everybody. I've had good days and bad days, and sometimes I'm a little less friendly than others. But I try and remain professional. Except when I called somebody a numpty recently.
A numpty?
A numpty.
I've heard of numpty before. You know what? We have a job to do, and sometimes if we receive interference from, people around or anything, we still have a job to do, and we have to get it done, friendly or not. It has to be done.
Yeah, and I think friendly is because that was the question. Or actually, the question was rude, and I think there's an expectation that we should be friendly. And we're Canadians, so we're obviously very friendly. We say sorry a lot, but it's not about being friendly. It's about being professional and making sure that we're understood. And sometimes that takes a little more direct speak and to get the message across. And sometimes it can't be friendly. Can you fight a speeding camera ticket? And the answer is you have the right to take it to court. Whether you win it is a different story. They do have photographic evidence along with other data. So, yeah, your mileage may vary, but you have the right to take it to court. Let's see here. EV Tesla with a regular plate and the HOV illegal. We just said that. So yes, if you have a Tesla and you don't have green plates because you chose to get custom, then yes, they are not permitted in the HOV lane. They would be illegal because it's the green plate that gives you access. What happens if you get caught driving with a G1? We discussed it a little bit earlier. It's one of my favorite questions, at least in my top 10. And the answer is you get charged with G1 drive unaccompanied. You're not covered by insurance if you're in a collision. The charge is $110, but it also comes with a 30-day suspension on your first conviction, 90-day on the second, and you get kicked out of the graduate licensing program on the third. You could also be found, guilty of taking a vehicle without consent if it was without consent, which is, I shouldn't say found guilty, you could be charged for it, which is criminal. And then you also have the person who gave you the car, if it wasn't take without consent, but the person gave you the keys, well, they're responsible for that. And they can, in addition to everything else we've discussed, they can be charged. So it's a big mess.
And we tow your car away.
Yeah, because you can't drive it away. How to find out if a warrant, what is this? How to find out if a warrant without going in. Oh, Erica wants to know, you want to find out if there's a warrant for you, I'm assuming. But it depends on where you are. If you're in the United States, it could be a very different process, but you can call your local police and find out if there's a warrant for you.
They may not be able to give you that information on the phone because may not be able to
verify that who you are. Yeah.
And we don't give police information over the phone.
This is true.
People that we don't know. So pretty much interacting with the police and showing your identification might be the only way to...
So maybe they should contact a lawyer. And a lawyer might be able to make inquiries on their behalf.
That'd be a good first step.
Probably. What is this? Can an unpaid ticket delay the sticker refund? In fact, yes, because the ministry the government came out and said if you have unpaid tickets, they'll be applying your refund to pay for those tickets. So not just delaying, but it may not be there depending on how much is owed. But you can certainly contact the ministry to find out what the status is. How much we charge if we don't have car insurance? Well, if you're in Ontario, the requirements are that you do. And if you are charged for driving without insurance, the fines range from $5,000 to $25,000 for your first offense, along with up to 6 months in jail. Well, it's and or both. It could be, depends on what the court determines. So it's quite expensive. I don't
$5,000. First off, right from the get-go, $5,000 fine.
And that's a minimum on first conviction. It could go higher than that on subsequent convictions. Can you turn left in a right lane? No, that would be an improper turn. So if you're in the far right lane, the right turn lane, you decide to cut across all lanes. It could be careless. It could be a lot of different things.
Yeah, it all depends on the situation. All depends on the road design. There may be 2 left turn lanes. There may be 2 lanes that allow you at a T intersection to turn left onto a multi-lane highway. But there would be signs and indications allowing you to do that.
But a left turn lane or a right turn lane and you're going the opposite direction, that's generally going to be considered an unsafe practice. And if you're in that situation where you last minute found out you were going the wrong way or you needed, I would suggest making a series of turns that were safe and legal as opposed to making an unsafe move. Just a reminder that the moderators in our chat are volunteers. They're members of the community of TikTok. And because we're talking specifically about TikTok moderators right now, they are not police officers. They're not paid to be here. Killer Dracona says, greetings and salutations. How you doing? Okay. Please don't ask the same question repeatedly. We will get you, but please don't ask them again. Is the grace period over? Just found out that my license is expired. No, this is, again, I'm pressing one button and the wrong question's coming up. Where to go? Where to go? So if you are an Ontario licensed driver and with a G1, G2, M1, or M2, you're extended until the end of the year. If you are a fully licensed driver and your license is expired, that extension ended on February 28th. There is no extension. You are currently unlicensed, and you should contact the MTO and get that resolved. What's going on? What is this? What's going on with this safety and emissions BS? I'm not sure what you mean. Safety and emissions, yeah, I really know what you mean. Like, do you have to have a safety on a vehicle? Sure you do. Do you have to have exhaust system installed? Yes, you do. I don't know if it's BS, though.
I'm kind of thinking that there's talk that we will change here in Ontario and go with some of the program that some of the other provinces are running right now, where you, at a certain time frame, have to have multiple safeties done on your vehicle.
Oh, really?
Say every 2 years. There was talk of that, so I do believe that may be coming into effect. Has not been announced. The particulars have not been announced, but that's maybe something that Ontario is lacking.
Interesting. And you know what? There's a lot to be said for vehicles that are not safe and not meeting requirements, and maybe this is a good way of keeping them safer on the road.
Yeah,
I'd be all for that. Can police check car insurance by no plate? I don't know what by no plate means.
Probably number plate.
So yeah, if we run your license plate, we can see some information to give us an idea. But ultimately, before laying charges, we would verify the status of insurance. At least I would.
We get an indication. It leads us to an investigation. We don't take that on fact because it's entered by somebody in the ministry, somebody in the insurance company, and insurance companies are private companies.
So we still do our due diligence. We check everything before laying official charges, but it certainly gives us a place to start. Is it illegal to have items hanging from your mirror? If they're blocking the driver's view, absolutely. It really depends. There should be nothing outside of or in the driver's view other than the window and your rearview mirror, especially within the path of the windshield wipers. Outside of that, like if you had a sticker on your window that told you to get an oil change, that's not a problem. You wouldn't put that dead center in the middle of your view, though.
No, I see lots of people with cell phones plastered right in front of them, things dangling from their rear view mirrors. Depending on the vehicle, that could impede your view and could cause you to be involved in a collision, especially with a pedestrian.
Yes. Okay. Can cars have underglow in Ontario/Toronto? Underglow itself is not illegal. If you have it improperly installed and it's creating and projecting light forward, sideways, backwards, could be an issue, which would result in tickets on their own. So if you're going to use it, I would suggest using it on private property only, or making sure that it's installed and only projecting light directly down. I would also avoid the colors of red, blue, or green, because those are restricted colors. Coolest car you've ever impounded? What's the coolest car you've ever impounded?
McLaren.
Really?
Yeah.
I've not impounded one.
Yeah, unfortunately, an impaired driver.
That is a problem. But I don't have any cool car impound stories.
No.
I mean, I got a Ninja motorcycle once, but nothing that really jumps out. Everyone got the cool cars but me. Okay. What's that, Q?
The McLaren model.
Oh, a 720? A 720S. She wants to know.
You know what? I don't recall which one it was.
Question, have I ever felt bad for someone you gave a ticket to? Sure. Sometimes I've given tickets and I know it's going to impact them personally, but I understand also that the reason they're being ticketed is because they did something that impacts the safety or risks the safety to everybody on the road. So sometimes You get to have that lesson, and it's like parents who say it's going to hurt me more than it hurts you. Well, in this case, it's going to hurt you probably more than it hurts me, but it's still going to make me feel bad.
Yep, I know. I feel I'm compassionate. I understand, but once again, we have a job to do, and that's part of our job, making sure it's safe for everybody.
Yeah, we're not doing anyone any favors by giving breaks, in my opinion. When you talk about, and I'm going to make a comparison to shoplifting. They say that when you catch someone for shoplifting, it's the 8th or 9th time probably they've done it, and this is the first time they're getting caught. Someone who's speeding or driving aggressively or breaking the rules probably breaks the rules on a regular basis. And this opportunity, this intervention to change behavior is the first opportunity, and it's a good opportunity. If I just say go away and you got away with it, and they tell the story about how they got away with this ticket, and it was just a warning. Does it really change behavior? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I issue tickets there for everyone's benefit.
Here's a good question.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, how do cops really feel about 5 over the limit? Depends on if you're the only person doing 5 over the limit, or if I can find someone who's doing 10 over the limit. Listen, any speeding is illegal. You're not allowed to do it. Is my focus to find the people doing 5 over? No. Will I issue a ticket for 5 over? Yes. Maybe, depending on the environment, depending on the street. If it's a 30 zone, absolutely, 5 over is a problem. If it's a 100 zone, maybe 5 over is not as much of a problem. But I'm more focused on areas where it's a risk to everybody. And again, at the end of the day, don't speed. What do you think about 5 over?
You know what? I feel exactly the same way you do.
That's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Q, what were you going to ask me before I jumped into a question?
Someone wanted to know, why is it such a big deal about tint on the front for driver and passenger?
Front sides or front? Because they both have reasons.
Sides.
And so one of the reasons is you need to be able to see in, and we need to be able to see in, and you need to be able to see out. That's a big deal. And I say we, I mean the public, everyone. Police need to see if you're wearing your seatbelt, if you're on your phone, or what have you. We also need to be able to make eye contact as pedestrians, not just police, but anyone needs to be able to see in and make eye contact so they can judge to see if you see them. It's communication, nonverbal. And of course, driver identification is a thing. But that's only one element of it. When you drive at, and front windshield, again, need to see. The way vision works is light comes in and goes against the optic nerve, and that's how we see. You reduce the light, you reduce the ability to see, and it's not safe. So there's a number of elements, but safety is the reason, more than anything else. I think it just comes back to safety all around, regardless if it's for us to be able to see in or for you to be able to see out.
You know what? I hate to say it, but I have to agree with you again.
We're trending here. Today I'm getting agreed with. It's weird. It feels weird. If everyone's speeding together, who gets the ticket? One lucky contestant. Depending on whether you're the first or the back, there's no specific rule of who gets the ticket. It's the one that I verify and possibly see first. Who's lucky with you?
It all depends on the situation. It all depends on the equipment I'm using. I can pick out the guy that's, 4 cars back. I don't target people for that, but if I watched you for a little while and saw that maybe you're changing lanes and maybe moving a little bit quicker, I would definitely target that.
Yeah, it's not. There's so many different factors. Sometimes I'm looking off in the distance and I'm watching a car that's taking off from the pack. They might be the front car, and I'm measuring from a fixed position. Maybe I'm following somebody, and the person who's following, like Sergeant Campbell says, has more aggressive tendencies than the other person. Maybe they're the winner. At the end of the day, don't speed. That's really the message. There's no excuse for it. It's not acceptable. If I had multiple vehicles, or if I could, I'd pull over everybody. What's the question? Oh, if you're watching us on TikTok, that's wonderful. We love you. But we are also broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and you can follow us everywhere. If you want to subscribe to us, we're on YouTube at Traffic Services Toronto Police. Traffic Services is our Twitch handle. Traffic Services is, oddly enough, our Facebook page, and you can get us on Twitter at Traffic Services. Now, Twitter is not working for bidirectional communication. We can't see your questions right now, so possibly not the best place to go, but it does work if you want to watch. You can also see all of our archives on YouTube, so that's awesome if you want to waste a few weeks of just watching old stuff. Ryan Pinn says, 2 years ago, police were successfully able to stop a spree shooting here in Nova Scotia. The identifying officer was able to ID the suspect through an untinted driver window. That's a great plug for reasons to not tint windows. Identification of the driver or occupants is huge. And amber alerts. Think about amber alerts. There's another reason to have untinted windows. And for having 2 license plates. That's a big deal. Being able to identify the occupants and the vehicle itself. Tint is illegal. Why can motorcycles have dark tint? Well, motorcycles generally don't have anything that prevents us from seeing inside of the motorcycle because it's an engine and someone's sitting on top of it. But visors, at night, the argument can be made that it's unsafe, but they can open it and still see for safety. If they're driving with it down, we might have a reason to discuss things, but it's not a tinted window. It's a visor and doesn't fall into the same area of the law. Have you ever had any issues with tinted visors?
No, and let's put it this way. When the law was created, it was never thought that somebody would be silly enough to use a tinted visor at nighttime.
Wear their sunglasses at night?
Well, you know what? It just doesn't
Like some
make sense.
songs? No, it doesn't make sense.
But as with every law or every rule that comes out, they change it to keep up with the times and trends. And for every rule, there's somebody who's done it, and they went,
That's it.
maybe we shouldn't allow people to do that because it's dangerous.
If there was a collision that was, that drew attention of the media, and it was determined that it was because of the visor, and that's what happened, chances are we'd be seeing some changes to the laws preventing it. Can a cyclist get a traffic ticket? Yes, indeed they can. They're responsible for the rules of the road and can be charged. And you are obligated legally to identify yourself as a cyclist in Ontario. So yes, you can get a ticket. Now, does it affect your driver's license? Not in the same way. There's no points. You may provide your driver's license, but it will not affect demerit points, or should not. If it does, you can look into that. They should be removed. In terms of speeding, that's an offense that, or distracted driving. Those offenses don't apply to cyclists, despite the fact that it's not safe. What is this? How fit do you have to be to join the police? Fitter than I am right now. When you join the Toronto Police or any police service, there are fitness requirements, and you have to be able to meet or exceed them in order to be hired. I used to be able to run good, or at least better than I can now. So that's what you have to do. You have to actually, you have to graduate. You have to be able to perform those tests in order to graduate the police college. If you want to know more about the fitness requirements, check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. There are specifics to the requirements for academic, physical, what was the other? There's even psychological. So check that out. We are hiring, and if you have questions, the folks at Employment, the Talent Acquisition Unit, would be happy to assist you. But you can also DM with us with some questions. If we've got answers, we give them to you. If we don't, we look them up, or we tell you who to talk to. Do Canadian cops benefit from traffic stops? I'm yet to receive a free toaster or a vacation to Maui for writing a ticket, so no. The benefit we have is the satisfaction knowing that we've done our job to make the roads safer, and we try and do that every single day that we go out. Have you ever gotten a free toaster?
No. And you know what? And quite honestly, the money does not come back to the police department.
Yeah, it goes to the province, and there's also a fund, there's a victim fine surcharge that's applied, and that goes to a fund for victims of crime. Yep. Which I think is amazing. It's interesting how, well, let me back up. If you decide to break the law, know that you're making a voluntary contribution, in my opinion, to help out the province and to help out victims of crime.
And you know what, though? If you choose to break the law, maybe you are the cause of victims of crime.
There you go. Is police foundations needed to get into policing? No, it's not. I like to say you can become like an accountant, and we need accountants. People with different skills make for diverse applicants, and we need different skill sets in the work that we do. We investigate all sorts of different crimes. So if you have skills and they're not police foundations, we're gonna train you how to be a police officer. You're gonna go to the police college. But any education is good education, but having a diverse education is obviously not a good. Sorry, I read the word "not." Is obviously a good thing. Diverse education, good thing. Why are e-bikes not regulated? That's where my "not" came from. Scanning, too many things at once. Why are e-bikes not regulated? They are regulated to some degree. There are rules that are prescribed, and you must follow them in order for them to be considered e-bikes. And if they are broken, they're not e-bikes anymore. And now they are motor vehicles. They were always motor vehicles, but they were covered by legislation. If you break the rules, if it's capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour, if it doesn't have proper braking system, if it has an exposed battery, if it has What am I thinking here? A motor more than 500 watts in power. Those things make it not covered under the legislation, and you need license, ownership, and insurance to operate those. And because they haven't been approved by Transport Canada, you can't even register them if you wanted to.
Yeah, you know what? They are motor vehicles, and they just have an exemption for certain parts of it. And if you nullify those exemptions, they're still a motor vehicle.
Details around ticket quotas. There are no quotas. We don't have quotas. I can't speak for every agency in the world. I'm sure some of them do. But in Ontario, I've never heard of an agency having a quota. We certainly don't. We're expected to go do our job and do our well. And if part of that includes traffic enforcement, because we have teams that are traffic enforcement teams, obviously if they came back and did nothing, there'd be questions asked. But
I may be chatting with them. I expect officers to go out there and work hard. They get paid well. Go out, work hard, do the job.
Yeah, and you know, if there was an expectation that if I went out and had nothing, no radio calls, no collisions, no major investigations, because sometimes I pull someone over, and it would be a cell phone, and it would turn into a no insurance major investigation with warrants, and now that's my day. My day is done. It's one ticket, major investigation now, or at least major in terms of from what my plan was, and sometimes it's 20 tickets. Because that's what I wrote that day. And the next day may have been 10 because it depends. And there's no quota, and again, no free toaster. Is the illegal province change for plates and license? I don't know what this question is. Province change for plates and license, how long? If you move from another province, you have to change your license plates within 30 days, or I believe, and 60 days for your license. No?
I don't know.
Oh, he's shaking his head. I thought he meant no. I always said it was 30 days, but I've been corrected that the license portion is 60 days, and the vehicle is 30. But you can get that information on the Ministry of Transportation website. That's where you can get it. Here's one. Opinion on Toronto Constable using a stolen visa. Obviously, that is not behavior that's acceptable. So if that's an allegation, I don't know what's actually happened. I only heard about it probably where you heard about it in the media. If that's the case and a police officer did something that was wrong, then you're going to be held accountable for it. There's no excuse for criminal activity at all by anyone. Doesn't matter, police officer or otherwise.
Yep, absolutely.
I take a lot of pride in being a police officer, and when someone does something to make us look bad, there's no defending them. So we'll find out what actually happened, but at least somebody will, not me.
And you know what, though? Just like everybody else out there that gets accused of doing something, there's a process that they have to go through, and there's a independent trier of fact that will decide whether that officer is guilty or not. And we have to wait. We have to allow that process to happen, like we let everybody else go through the process that we catch.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any unusual police found? What? I start reading the question, a different question. This is weird things happening today. It was a question about pets. Let me see here. Is there any unusual laws around pets? Here. Is it going to actually work this time? There we go. Unusual laws? I don't think there's a pet-specific law. I mean, other than like taking your horse down or cows down Main Street. But for HTA specific, we would like to see pets tethered for their safety and for yours because they become unfortunate projectiles in collisions. You can't drive with your pet on your lap. That would be careless driving or drive while crowded. But it's not a specific pet law. It's just that qualifies for the charge. Fish tanks should be sealed. I don't know.
There are, for horse-drawn carriages, stuff like that, there are a bunch of charges you could lay for that.
You can't scare the horses, but is that pets? I guess they qualify as pets.
You can't frighten it.
You can't frighten, yes.
Can't frighten an animal, it's a $110 fine for that. Can't race an animal, it's another $110 fine.
We talked about that, but yeah, there was a lot of discussions about people wanting to get and keep horses because they don't want to pay for gas anymore.
Horses are expensive too.
They are not cheap. If you break law off duty as police, I get a ticket. I don't know exactly the way you've written this to make a lot of sense, but police officers can be issued tickets off duty. We're not above the law. If we break the rules, we're responsible for them. Let's see here. We're going to call it the last question because we've hit time. It's 11 o'clock. And I'm trying to find one that hasn't been covered or we haven't talked about. Is it illegal to wear sunglasses while driving at night?
Well, we kind of covered that. Why would you do that?
It makes no sense. Is it illegal? There's no charge for it. You're right. I did cover it. So let's pick one more.
You know what? All I can say is if you're wearing sunglasses at night and you're being involved in a collision, that could be careless. We did it on purpose.
Yeah, because you're still
Is it
responsible
careless?
for your actions.
Yep.
Oh, since we don't have to pay for stickers, what now? That's a very open question. Now we ponder life, the universe, and everything. But the way I took it, and obviously I'm writing my own ending to this, is that, people say that you used to have to pay your tickets before you could renew. You still have to pay your tickets before you renew, and you may be prevented from renewing. But you can remove the sticker as long as your license plate is valid and up to date. I suggest waiting until you've renewed online so that you have it current and up to date. I don't know what the rush is. Is it aesthetics? Is it prettier without the sticker?
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't seen anybody without stickers yet. Or not that I've noticed.
I haven't noticed either.
I'm going to start looking now. Everyone's starting letting me know. I want to know if you see plates without stickers. But I'm not in a rush to take mine off. Mine are still valid till later this year. When they come off, it'll be because I've renewed, and I keep meaning to do that. I went through the process to see how it went, and I haven't actually pressed the button because I thought I was going to do a recording of me doing it. And maybe I will or maybe I won't. Anyway, it's been a slice. It's now 11:02. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. To do this all over again. So it's have a good day. Enjoy. And be safe out there. Watch us and follow us, and we'll have more questions and answers, and specifically talking about the release of the numbers, the details about the Speed Kills campaign that we just wrapped up. Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
Shocking numbers, Sean. Shocking numbers.
Shocking.
Shocking.
They really are shocking.
Yep.
I think they're shocking.
Bye, everybody.
See ya. And hi, Sean Chen. Ryan Pinn says the only vacation to Maui Sean gets is when his kids demand to watch